Have you ever wondered why two people can eat almost the same foods, take the same supplements, follow similar workouts, yet one wakes up energized, builds muscle faster, stays lean, and recovers effortlessly, while the other feels exhausted, sore, and stuck? The answer isn't usually genetics, and it's rarely about finding a magical supplement. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Peak performance isn't built by one meal, one vitamin, or one workout. It's the result of three biological systems working together: nutrition that supplies the raw materials, recovery that repairs and strengthens your tissues, and metabolism that determines how efficiently your body turns food into usable energy. Most people focus on only one piece of the puzzle. They buy expensive supplements while sleeping 5 hours a night. They eat plenty of protein but ignore blood sugar control. They train harder every week without giving their nervous system time to recover. That's like trying to build a high-performance sports car using premium fuel while forgetting to change the oil or maintain the engine. What the research consistently shows is that elite health and performance come from optimizing the fundamentals before chasing shortcuts. High-quality protein supports muscle protein synthesis. Creatine improves the recycling of ATP, the energy currency of every cell. Omega-3 fatty acids help regulate inflammation and recovery. And perhaps most importantly, sleep is when many of these adaptations actually occur. Recent systematic reviews continue to reinforce that protein, creatine, and omega-3s each play distinct roles in strength, endurance, and recovery when paired with proper training and nutrition. Over the next few minutes, we're going to build a complete evidence-based protocol for peak performance. We'll cover the optimal diet for sustained energy, the supplements that genuinely have strong scientific support, and the many that don't, the recovery habits that separate consistent performers from chronically fatigued people, and the daily routines that improve not only athletic performance, but also brain function, metabolic health, and healthy aging. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just what to do, but why your body responds the way it does. And once you understand the physiology, making better decisions becomes much easier. And if you're serious about improving your health naturally using evidence instead of hype, consider subscribing. Every week, we break down complex science into practical strategies you can actually use in everyday life. Everything starts with your diet, not because food is simply fuel, but because food provides the raw materials your body uses to build muscle, produce hormones, repair tissues, support your immune system, and generate energy every second of the day. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every meal sends biological signals. Protein tells your muscles to repair and grow. Carbohydrates replenish glycogen, the stored form of glucose that powers intense physical and mental activity. Healthy fats provide the building blocks for cell membranes and many hormones. And fiber feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut, which in turn produce compounds that support metabolism, immunity, and even brain health. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body is a construction site. Protein is the brick and steel. Carbohydrates are the delivery trucks bringing supplies to the workers. Healthy fats are the electrical wiring that keeps communication flowing throughout the building. Vitamins and minerals are the skilled engineers making sure every process runs efficiently. If any one of these is consistently missing, the project slows down, even if you're eating enough calories. One of the biggest mistakes people make is obsessing over calories while ignoring food quality. 2 meals can contain the same number of calories but create very different hormonal responses. A meal centered around lean protein, vegetables, whole grains or legumes, and healthy fats typically produces steadier blood sugar and greater satiety than a meal built around refined sugars and ultra-processed foods. Over time, those differences influence insulin sensitivity, energy levels, recovery, and body composition. What the research shows is that protein deserves special attention. Current evidence suggests that consuming roughly 1.2 to 2.0 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day supports muscle maintenance and growth for most active adults, with higher intakes often benefiting those engaged in resistance training or during weight loss. Distributing protein across several meals also appears to maximize muscle protein synthesis. Recent consensus statements continue to support this approach for optimizing performance and recovery. A practical daily protocol could look like this. Start your morning with 25 to 35 grams of high-quality protein. Fill half your plate with colorful vegetables at lunch and dinner. Choose minimally processed carbohydrates such as oats, potatoes, fruit, beans, or rice around periods of activity. Include healthy fat sources like olive oil, nuts, seeds, or avocado. Stay hydrated throughout the day instead of waiting until you feel thirsty. Remember, consistency matters far more than perfection. The body responds to what you do repeatedly, not occasionally. And if this breakdown is helping you better understand how your body works, consider subscribing. Every week, we explore practical, science-backed strategies to improve metabolism, energy, and longevity, without relying on gimmicks or quick fixes. Once you've established a high-quality diet, The next step is understanding when to eat. This is where many people unknowingly leave performance on the table. The right foods eaten at the wrong time can limit recovery, reduce training adaptations, and leave you feeling sluggish, even if your nutrition is otherwise excellent. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism follows a rhythm. Throughout the day, hormones such as insulin, cortisol, growth hormone, and melatonin rise and fall in predictable patterns. Your cells are constantly deciding whether to store energy, burn it, repair tissue, or build new muscle. Nutrient timing works best when it supports these natural biological cycles rather than fighting against them. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your muscles as rechargeable batteries. Exercise drains those batteries by using stored glycogen and creating tiny amounts of muscle damage. Eating the right nutrients afterward is like plugging the batteries into a charger. Delay that recharge for too long, or skip it altogether, and recovery slows. But if you consistently provide the body with protein and carbohydrates after demanding exercise, your muscles replenish glycogen, repair damaged fibers, and become more resilient for the next session. Research continues to show that consuming 20 to 40 grams of high-quality protein after resistance exercise effectively stimulates muscle protein synthesis. Pairing that protein with carbohydrates is especially helpful after long or intense training sessions because it accelerates glycogen restoration, particularly when another workout is scheduled within the next 24 hours. For recreational exercisers, the overall quality and consistency of daily nutrition still matter more than chasing an exact anabolic window, but post-workout nutrition remains a valuable habit. Meal spacing also deserves attention. Rather than consuming most of your daily protein at dinner, aim to spread it across 3 or 4 meals. Each meal becomes another opportunity to stimulate muscle repair and maintain steady energy throughout the day. This approach is particularly important as we age because our muscles become less responsive to smaller amounts of protein. A practical protocol might look like this. Eat a protein-rich breakfast within a couple of hours of waking. If you're training for more than 60 to 90 minutes or performing high-intensity exercise, have a balanced meal containing carbohydrates and protein 2 to 3 hours beforehand. Within about 2 hours after training, consume 25 to 40 grams of protein along with quality carbohydrates such as fruit, potatoes, rice, or oats. Finish your final meal at least 2 to 3 hours before bedtime to support digestion and sleep quality, unless your schedule or medical needs require otherwise. The goal isn't to micromanage every bite. It's to give your body the nutrients it needs when it's most prepared to use them. When nutrition and biology work together instead of against each other, performance, recovery, and long-term metabolic health all improve. Now let's talk about supplements, the area where there's probably more marketing than science. Every year, companies introduce new powders, capsules, and drinks that promise explosive energy, rapid muscle growth, or instant recovery. But if you strip away the advertising and look at the evidence, only a handful consistently deliver meaningful benefits for most healthy adults. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Supplements are exactly what their name implies. They are meant to supplement an already solid foundation, not replace one. If your diet is poor, your sleep is inconsistent, and you're constantly stressed, no supplement can overcome those biological disadvantages. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you're building a house. A quality supplement is like adding solar panels to a well-built home. They can improve efficiency and performance. But if the foundation is cracked and the roof is leaking, installing solar panels won't solve the real problems. That's exactly how supplements work. They enhance good habits, but they rarely compensate for bad ones. What the research shows is that creatine monohydrate remains one of the most studied and effective supplements available. Although it's often associated with bodybuilders, creatine benefits much more than muscle. It helps regenerate ATP, the body's immediate energy source, improving strength, power, high-intensity exercise performance, and even showing promising evidence for supporting cognitive function, particularly during periods of sleep deprivation or high mental demand. A daily dose of 3 to 5 grams is sufficient for most people with no loading phase required. Another supplement backed by strong evidence is omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA. These healthy fats help regulate inflammation, support cardiovascular health, contribute to normal brain function, and may improve recovery from strenuous exercise. If you rarely eat fatty fish like salmon, sardines, or mackerel, an omega-3 supplement may be worth considering. Vitamin D is another important nutrient, but only if you're deficient or have insufficient levels. Since vitamin D acts more like a hormone than a traditional vitamin, maintaining adequate blood levels supports bone health, immune function, and muscle performance. Testing your vitamin D level with your healthcare provider is far more useful than guessing. Finally, magnesium deserves attention because many adults fail to meet recommended intake through diet alone. Magnesium participates in more than 300 enzymatic reactions involved in energy production, muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and sleep quality. While supplementation isn't necessary for everyone, correcting an inadequate intake may improve recovery and overall well being. The takeaway is simple: prioritize supplements with decades of high quality research, not those with the loudest advertisements. And if this evidence based approach is helping you cut through the noise, consider subscribing. Every week, we separate scientific fact from health myths so you can make smarter decisions for your body, your performance, and your long term health. If nutrition provides the building blocks and supplements fill specific gaps, then recovery is the process that transforms all of that effort into measurable results. This is the step that many high achievers overlook. They believe more training always leads to better performance, but in reality, your body doesn't become stronger during exercise. It becomes stronger after exercise while it's recovering. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every challenging workout creates a controlled amount of stress. Muscle fibers develop microscopic damage. Glycogen stores become depleted. Your nervous system works harder. Levels of stress hormones such as cortisol temporarily rise. None of this is harmful. In fact, it's exactly what stimulates adaptation. The problem begins when recovery is too short or incomplete. Instead of rebuilding stronger, your body stays in a prolonged state of stress and performance starts to decline. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of exercise as making withdrawals from a bank account. Every workout is a withdrawal of energy, nutrients, and recovery capacity. Sleep, proper nutrition, hydration, and stress management are your deposits. If you consistently deposit more than you withdraw, your account grows stronger over time. But if you keep withdrawing without replenishing the balance, eventually you become overdrawn. In the body, that looks like persistent fatigue, poor concentration, slower recovery, reduced motivation, and an increased risk of illness or injury. Sleep is the single most powerful recovery tool available, and it's completely free. During deep sleep, growth hormone secretion increases, muscle protein synthesis accelerates, memories are consolidated, and the brain clears metabolic waste through the lymphatic system. Research consistently shows that adults who regularly sleep 7 to 9 hours per night experience better physical performance, faster recovery, stronger immune function, and improved cognitive health compared with those who are chronically sleep deprived. Recovery also includes managing psychological stress. Chronic elevations in cortisol can impair muscle repair, reduce insulin sensitivity, disrupt sleep, and increase inflammation. That's why even 5 to 10 minutes of daily mindfulness, slow breathing, or a relaxing walk outdoors can have meaningful physiological benefits. A simple recovery protocol includes: aim for 7 to 9 hours of consistent sleep each night. Finish intense exercise at least a few hours before bedtime when possible. Rehydrate after training and replace electrolytes if you've had prolonged heavy sweating. Include 1 or 2 lower intensity recovery days each week with walking, mobility work, or light cycling. Spend time outdoors in natural daylight to support your circadian rhythm and improve nighttime sleep quality. The strongest athletes and the healthiest people aren't necessarily the ones who train the hardest. They're the ones who recover the smartest. Now let's go one level deeper. Inside your cells, because no matter how well you eat, how hard you train, or how many supplements you take, none of it matters if your cells can't efficiently produce energy. That's where your mitochondria come in. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Mitochondria are often called the powerhouses of the cell because they convert nutrients from your food into ATP, the molecule that powers virtually every biological process. Your heartbeat, muscle contractions, brain activity, hormone production, and even the repair of damaged tissues all depend on a steady supply of ATP. The healthier your mitochondria, the more efficiently your body can perform and recover. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine every cell in your body is a city, and the mitochondria are its power plants. If the power plants are modern, efficient, and well-maintained, the city runs smoothly. Traffic flows, businesses operate, and everything functions as it should. But if the power plants become damaged or inefficient, the entire city experiences blackouts. In your body, those blackouts can feel like low energy, poor exercise capacity, brain fog, slower recovery, and reduced resilience as you age. What the research shows is that mitochondria are remarkably adaptable. They respond positively to healthy stressors, a concept known as hormesis. Regular exercise, particularly a combination of resistance training and aerobic activity, stimulates the production of new mitochondria through pathways involving PGC1 alpha, often described as the master regulator of mitochondrial biogenesis. In simple terms, your body literally builds more cellular power plants when you consistently challenge it. Nutrition plays a role as well. Polyphenol-rich foods such as berries, extra virgin olive oil, green tea, cocoa, colorful vegetables, and herbs provide compounds that help protect mitochondria from excessive oxidative damage. Contrary to popular belief, not all oxidative stress is harmful. Exercise naturally creates reactive oxygen species, which act as signals that trigger beneficial adaptations. The goal isn't to eliminate these signals, but to support the body's own antioxidant defenses through a nutrient-rich diet. A practical mitochondrial support protocol includes perform at least 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity each week, along with 2 or more resistance training sessions. Include colorful, minimally processed plant foods every day to increase polyphenol intake. Avoid smoking and limit ultra-processed foods, both of which can impair mitochondrial function over time. Stay physically active throughout the day instead of sitting for hours without movement. Spend time in natural daylight and maintain a consistent sleep schedule, as your circadian rhythm directly influences mitochondrial health. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. Every week, we turn complex physiology into practical strategies that help you build more energy, improve metabolic health, and support healthy aging, one science-backed habit at a time. We've covered nutrition, meal timing, supplements, recovery, and even the tiny power plants inside your cells. Now it's time to bring everything together into one sustainable system. Because the truth is, peak performance isn't something you achieve once. It's something you practice every day. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your physiology responds to patterns, not isolated events. One healthy meal won't transform your metabolism, one great night's sleep won't erase months of sleep deprivation, and one intense workout won't make you fit. Your body is constantly asking one question: what are you doing consistently? That's what determines your energy, body composition, cognitive function, and long-term health. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your health like investing money. If you invest a small amount consistently over many years, compound interest does the heavy lifting. But if you invest a large amount only once in a while, your progress is much slower. Your biology works the same way. Every nutritious meal, every workout, every hour of quality sleep, and every stress-reducing habit is a small investment. Alone, they may seem insignificant. Together, they create powerful, compounding benefits. Research in behavioral science consistently shows that people are more successful when they build systems instead of relying on motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Systems remain. That's why elite athletes and high performers don't make healthy decisions based on how they feel each morning. They follow routines that remove unnecessary decision-making. Here's a simple daily protocol you can start implementing. Morning. Get outside within the first hour of waking for natural sunlight, hydrate, and eat a protein-rich breakfast if it fits your routine and energy needs. Midday. Prioritize whole food meals, stay active by breaking up long periods of sitting, and aim for a brief walk after meals to support healthy blood sugar regulation. Training. Combine resistance training 2 to 4 times per week with regular cardiovascular exercise, adjusting intensity based on your recovery. Evening. Eat a balanced dinner, reduce exposure to bright screens before bed, and create a consistent sleep routine that allows for 7 to 9 hours of rest. Notice that none of these habits are extreme. There are no detoxes, miracle supplements, or impossible diets. Instead, they're grounded in physiology and supported by decades of research. The goal isn't to become perfect, it's to become more consistent than you were yesterday. Because when healthy habits become automatic, peak performance stops being something you chase and starts becoming your normal way of living. As we've seen throughout this video, peak performance isn't built on a single superfood, the newest supplement, or an extreme workout program. It's the result of many small evidence-based habits working together to support your body's natural biology. Think back to the 3 pillars we started with: nutrition, supplementation, and recovery. When you eat high-quality foods, you're giving your cells the raw materials they need to produce energy, repair tissues, and regulate hormones. When you use a small number of well-researched supplements appropriately, you're filling genuine nutritional gaps rather than chasing marketing promises. And when you prioritize recovery through sleep, hydration, stress management, and intelligent training, you're allowing your body to adapt and become stronger instead of simply becoming more tired. The most important lesson is this: your body is always adapting to the signals you give it. Every meal is a signal. Every workout is a signal. Every night of quality sleep is a signal. Every hour of chronic stress is also a signal. Over weeks, months, and years, those signals shape your metabolism, your brain, your muscles, your immune system, and ultimately, how well you age. That's why lasting health isn't about finding the perfect protocol. It's about consistently sending your body the right signals. You also don't need to overhaul your entire lifestyle overnight. In fact, trying to change everything at once often leads to frustration and burnout. Instead, choose one habit and master it. Maybe it's eating 30 grams of protein at breakfast. Maybe it's walking for 20 minutes after dinner. Maybe it's committing to 7.5 hours of sleep every night. Small improvements repeated consistently create remarkable results over time. Remember, your goal isn't simply to live longer, it's to live those extra years with more strength, sharper thinking, better mobility, stable energy, and greater independence. That's what true longevity is about. Not just adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. So here's my challenge for you. Pick just one strategy from today's video and begin today. Follow it consistently for the next 2 weeks, pay attention to how your body responds, and build from there. Sustainable progress always beats short-lived perfection. If this video added value to your health journey, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a like and subscribe to the channel. Every week, we explore the latest science on nutrition, metabolism, longevity, and performance, turning complex research into practical strategies you can use in everyday life. Thank you for watching, take care of your health, and I'll see you in the next video.